and great privilege to introduce our opening speaker, His Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China. I'm so delighted that you can join us in Davos, that you have accepted my invitation, which I issued over a year ago. President Xi, a very warm welcome to you and your delegation, your high-level delegation, for your first Davos visit. Even a warm welcome, even if the temperatures outside are freezing. Your presence here has a very special significance, and as the first Chinese president to address this audience of political, business and civil society leaders, it comes at a very important moment in time when people are looking for signposts in a complex and uncertain world. In the past several years, the Chinese economy has made impressive achievements, both in terms of lifting people out of poverty and for transforming industries through reform and opening up. Under your leadership, Mr. President, China has also playing a never-increasing active role in global affairs, from climate change to reforming the global governance system. And I would like to congratulate you particularly for the successful leadership of this G20 summit under your presidency last year. Particularly today, in a world marked by great uncertainty and volatility, the international community is looking to China to continue its responsive and responsible leadership in providing all of us with confidence and stability. Personally, I would like to use this opportunity also to thank you for your country's continuous support of the World Economic Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Excellency Xi Jinping, the President of the People's Republic of China.
President Doris Leuthard and Mr. Hausen, heads of state and government, deputy heads of state and your spouses, heads of international organizations, Dr. Klaus Schwab and Mrs. Schwab, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I'm delighted to come to Davos. The small, beautiful town in the Alps is indeed an important window through which we can take the pulse of the global economy. People from around the world come here to exchange ideas and insights which will broaden their vision. This makes the WEF annual meeting a cost-effective brainstorming event, which I would like to call Schwab economics. As you know, in 10 days' time, The Chinese will celebrate the Lunar Chinese New
在
Year.
这个时期啊，中国国内都在忙
Around this
碌的，
time, it is
大
all
家互
buzz
相走访，
in China. People visit
叫做拜年。
their relatives
通过拜年呢，
and friends.
联络感情，增进友谊。
In this way, they will strengthen their
那么这次
bond
我和
and
我夫人
friendship.
和中国代表
So this
团呢
time, my wife and I and the
就来到
other
了
members of the
达沃斯拜年。
delegation come to Davos
给
to
瑞士
pay
拜年。
our
也给
respect
全世界拜年。
to say New Year greetings to Switzerland and the whole world.
这是最好的时代，
It was the best of
也是
times.
最坏的时代
It。was the worst of times.
英国文学家狄更斯
These are the words used by
这样描述
Charles Dickens
工业革
to
命发
describe
生
the
后的
world
世界。
after the Industrial Revolution.
今天，我们也生活
Today,
在
we also live in a
一个矛
world
盾的
of
世界之中。
contradictions.
一方面，物质财
On
富
the one
不断
hand,
的积累，
With growing material
科
wealth
技进步，
and advances in science and technology,
人类文明发展到历史
human
最高水平。
civilization has developed as never before.
另一方面，地区冲突
On the other hand,
频
however,
繁发生，
frequent regional
恐怖
conflicts,
主义、难民潮
global
等
challenges
全球
like
性挑战
terrorism and
此
refugees,
起彼伏，贫
as
困、
well as
失
poverty,
业、
unemployment,
收入差距拉
and
大，
the widening
世
income
界
gap
面临的不确定性上
have
升。
all added to the uncertainties of the world.
对此，许多人感到
Many
困惑
people are wondering
这个世界到底怎么了？
what has gone wrong with our world.
要解决这个困惑，
To answer this question,
首先要找准问题的
one
根源。
must first track the source of the problem.
有一种观点，把世界乱象
Some people blame economic globalization
经济全球
for
化
the。chaos in our world.
经济全球化曾经被人们
Economic
视为
globalization
阿里巴巴的
was
山洞。
once viewed as the treasure cave found by Alibaba in
现
the
在又
Arabian
被不
Nights.
少人看作
But now
潘多拉的盒
it has
子。
become the Pandora's box in the eyes of
国际
many.
社会围绕经济全球化问题展
The
开了
international
广泛的
community
讨论。
finds itself in a heated debate on economic
今天
globalization.
我想从经济
So
全球
today
化
I
问题切
wish
入，
to address the global
谈谈
economy
我对世
in
界
the
经济的
context
看法。
of economic globalization.
我想说的是，
The point I want to make
困扰世
is
界的
that
很多问题，
many of the problems
并不是
troubling the world
经济
are
全球化
not
造成。
caused by economic globalization.
比如，
For instance,
过去几年来，
the refugee
源自中东
waves
北非
from
的
the
难
Middle
民
East
潮
and North
牵动
Africa
全
in
球
recent years have become a
数以
global
百万计的
concern.
民众颠沛流离，
Several million people have been
甚至不少
displaced,
年幼的孩子
and
在
some
路
small
途中
children
葬身大海，
lost their lives while
让
crossing
我
the
们
rough sea.
痛心疾首。
This is indeed heartbreaking to us.
导致这一问题的原因是战
It is
乱、
war,
冲突
conflict,
地区动
and regional
荡。
turbulence that have created this problem.
解决这一问题的出路
And the solution
是
to
谋
this
求和
problem
平，
lies in
推动
making
和解，
peace, promoting
恢复稳定。
reconciliation, and restoring stability.
再比如，国际金融危机
The international financial
也不
crisis
是经济全球
is
化发
another
展的
example.
必
It
然
is
产物
not an inevitable outcome of
而是
economic
金融资本
globalization.
过度
Rather,
逐利
it is the consequence of excessive
金融
chase
监
of
管
profit
严
by
重
financial
缺失的
capital
结果，
and grave failure of financial regulation.
把困扰世界的问题简单归咎于经济全
There's
球
no
化。
point in blaming economic globalization for the world's problems, as that is simply not the case, and it will not help solve the problems.
历史的看，经济
From the
全球化
historical
是社会生
perspective,
产力发展的
economic
客观
globalization
要求
results from growing
和科技
social
进步的
productivity
必然结
and
果。
is the natural outcome
不是哪
of
些人
scientific and technological
哪些国家
advances. It is
人为造
not
出来。
something created by any individuals or any countries.
经济全球化为世界经济增长
Economic globalization
提供了强劲
has
动
powered
力，
global growth and
促进了
facilitated
商
the
品和
movement
资本
of
流动，
goods and capital,
科技和文明进步，
advances in science, technology, and civilization, and interactions among peoples.
当然，我们也要承认，
But we should also recognize
经济全球化
that economic globalization
是一柄双刃剑。
is a double-edged sword.
当世界经济处于下行
When
期
the
的时
global
候，
economy is under downward
全
pressure,
球经济蛋糕不容易
it
做
is
大，
hard for us to make the cake of global economy bigger. As a matter of fact, it may even shrink, and this will strain the relations between growth and
效率
distribution.
和公平
In fact, it may even shrink, and this will strain the relations between growth and
效率
distribution,
和公平的
between
矛盾
capital and
就会
labor,
更加突出。
and between efficiency and equity.
发达国家和发展中国家
Both
都
developed
会感
and
受到
developing
压力。
countries have felt the punch.
反全球化的呼声
The voices against
反映了经济
globalization
全球化
have
进
laid
程
bare
的
the
不足，
pitfalls in the process of economic
值得我们重
globalization,
视和深思。
and we need to take that seriously.
中国人说呀，干瓜
The
爆
Chinese
土
tend to
地，
say, honey
美枣
melons
生
hang
荆
from
棘。
bitter vines, sweet dates
从
grow
哲学
on
上说，
things and thorns.
世界
In
上
a
没有十
philosophical
全十
sense,
美的事物，
nothing is perfect in the world.
因为事物存在的优点，就把它看成完美
One
无
would
缺。
fail to see the full picture if he claims something is
因为
perfect
事物存在的
simply
缺
because
点，
of its merits,
就把它
or
看
if
成
he
一无
views
是处。
something as useless
也是
just
不全
because of
面。
its defects.
经济全球化确实，
It is true
带来了新
that
问题。
economic globalization has created new
但
problems,
我们不能就此把经济全球化
but this is no
一棍子打死，
justification to write off economic globalization
而是要
altogether.
适应和引导
Rather, we should adapt to and guide economic globalization,
消解经济全球化
cushion
的，
its negative
负面影响。
impact,
让它更
and
好惠及
deliver its
每个
benefits
国家、
to all
每
countries
个民族。
and all nations.
当年，中国对经济全
There
球化
was a time
也有
when
过
China
疑虑，
also had doubts about economic
对加入世
globalization
界贸易组织
and was not sure
也有过
whether China should
忐忑。
join the World Trade Organization.
但是我们认为，
But we came to the
融入
conclusion
世界经济
that integration into the global economy represents a historical trend. To grow its economy, China must have the
汪洋大
courage
海中去游
to
泳。
swim in the vast ocean of the
如
global
果永
market.
远不敢到大海中去，
If
经
one
风
is
雨
always afraid of bracing storm and exploring the new world,
会在大海中
he will get
溺水而
drowned
亡
in the ocean sooner or later.
所以，中国勇敢迈向了世
So
界
what
市场。
China did is to take a brave step forward
在这
to
个过程
embrace the
中
global market.
我们呛过水，
We have had our fair share of
遇到
choking in
过
the
漩
water,
涡，
and we have
遇到过风
encountered
浪，
whirlpools and choppy waves,
但我们在游泳中学会了游泳，
but we have learned how to swim in this
这
process.
是正确的战略决
It
策。
has proved to be the right strategic choice.
世界经济的大海，你要还是不要？
Whether you like it or
都在
not,
那儿。
the global economy is the
是回避不了
big
的。
ocean that you cannot escape from.
想人为切断各国经济
Any
的资
attempt
金流、
to
技
cut
术
off
流、
flows of
产品
capital,
流、
technologies,
产业流，
products,
人员流。
industries, and people between
让世界
economies,
经济的大海
and channel the waters in the
退回到
ocean back
一个
into
一个孤立的
isolated
小
lakes
湖
and
泊
creeks.
小河流是不可能的，
This is simply not
也
possible.
是不符合历史
And
常
indeed, it runs counter to the historical trend.
人类历史告诉我们，
The history of mankind tells us that problems are not to be feared.
不敢直面问题，
What should concern us
找不到解决
is
问题的
refusing to
思路。
face up to the problems and not knowing what to do about them.
面对经济全球化带来
In
的
the
机
face
遇
of both
和挑战，
opportunities and challenges of economic globalization, the right thing to do is to seize every
合
opportunity,
作应对一切挑战，
jointly meet challenges,
引导好
and
经济全球
and
化
chart
走
the
向。
right course for economic globalization.
去年年底，我在亚太经合
At
组
the
织领导
APEC
人
economic leaders meeting in late 2016,
要让
I
经济全
spoke
球化
about
进程
the need to make the process of economic globalization more invigorated, more inclusive, and more sustainable.
我们要主动作为，
We should act
适
proactively
度管理，
and manage economic
让经济全
globalization
球
as
化的正
appropriate
面效应
so as to
更多释
release
放
its
出来，
positive impact
实现
and
经济全球化
rebalance
进程
the process
再平衡。
of economic globalization.
我们要顺应大势，结合
We
国
should
情，
follow the general trend,
正
proceed
确
from our
选择
respective
融入
national
经济
conditions,
全球化的路
and
径。
embark on the right pathway of integrating into economic globalization
我们要
at
讲
the
求
right
效
pace.
率，
We should strike a
注重
balance
公平，
between efficiency and
让
equity
不同国家、
to ensure that
不同阶
different
层
countries, different social strata, and different groups of people all share in the benefits of economic
这是我们
globalization.
这个时代的领导者应有的
This
担
is a
当。
responsibility that leaders of our times must take on,
更是各国人民
and the people
对我们
around
的
the
期待。
world expect nothing less from us.
女士们、先生们、朋友们，
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends,
当前最迫切的任务是
at
引
present,
领世界
the
经
most
济
pressing task before us is to steer the global economy out of
世界
difficulty.
经济长
The
期
global
低迷，
economy has remained
贫
sluggish
富差距
for quite some time now.
南北差距
The gap
问题
between the
更
poor
加
and the
突出
rich and between the south and the north is
究其根
widening.
源
The root cause
是经
is
济
that
领域
three
三大
critical
突出矛
issues
盾
in the economic sphere
没有得到
have
有效
not been
解决。
effectively addressed.
一是全球增
First,
长动能不足，
lack of robust
难
driving
以支
force
撑世
makes
界经
it
济持续
difficult
稳
to
定增长。
sustain steady global growth.
世界经济增速
Global growth
7年
is
来
now
最
at
低
its
水
slowest pace in 7 years,
全球贸易增速
and growth
继续
of
低
global
于
trade
经济增速。
is even slower than that.
短期性政策刺激效
Short-term
果不佳
policy stimulus has
深
proved
层次结构
ineffective,
性改革尚在推
and
进。
fundamental structural reform is just unfolding.
世界经济正处在
The global economy is
动能
now
转换
in a
的
period
换挡期，
of moving toward new growth drivers,
传统
with the role of traditional engines
对
for
经济
growth
拉动作用减弱，
further weakening.
人工智能、3D 打印
Despite
等
the burgeoning
新技术
new technologies such as artificial intelligence and
但新
3D
的影响
printing,
经济增长点
new sources of growth are yet to emerge,
世界经济仍然未能开辟出一条新路。
and a new path for the global economy remains elusive.
二是全球经济治理之后，
Second, inadequate global
难以
economic
适应
governance
世界经济新变化。
makes it difficult to adapt to new developments in the global
前不久
economy.
拉加德女士
Madame
告诉我
Christine Lagarde recently told me
新兴市场
that
国家和发展
emerging
中国
markets
家
and developing
对全
countries
球经济增长的贡献率
already
已
contribute
经达到
to
80%。
80% of global growth.
过去数十年，国际经济力量对
In the
比深刻
past
演变，
few decades, the global economic landscape has changed profoundly, but the global governance system has not embraced those new changes
和包容性
and is therefore inadequate in terms of representation and
全球产业
inclusiveness.
布局在不断调
The
整，
global industrial landscape is also
新的产业
changing,
链
and new
价值链
industrial chains,
供应链
value chains,
日益
and supply
形成。
chains are taking shape. But trade and investment rules have not kept pace with these developments, resulting in acute problems such as closed mechanisms and fragmentation of rules. The global financial market needs to be more resilient against risks. But the global financial governance mechanism fails to meet the new requirement and is unable to effectively resolve problems such as frequent volatility in the international financial market and the buildup of asset bubbles. Third, uneven global development makes it difficult to meet people's expectations for better lives. Dr. Schwab observes in his book, The Fourth Industrial Revolution, that this round of industrial revolution will have extensive and far-reaching impacts, such as growing inequality, particularly a possible widening gap between return on capital and return on labor. The richest 1% of the world's population own more wealth than the remaining 99% combined. Inequality in income distribution and uneven development space are worrying. Over 700 million people in the world are still living in extreme poverty. For many families, to have warm houses, enough food, and secure jobs is still a distant dream. This is the biggest challenge facing the world today. It is also what is behind the social turmoil in some countries. All this shows that there are indeed problems with global growth, governance, and development models. And these problems must be addressed. The founder of the Red Cross, Henry Dunant, said, "Our real enemy is not the neighboring country. It is hunger, poverty, ignorance, superstition, and prejudice." We need to have the vision to dissect these problems. More importantly, we need to have the courage to take actions to address them. First, we should develop a dynamic, innovation-driven growth model. The fundamental problem plaguing the global economy is the lack of driving force for growth. Innovation is the primary force guiding development. Unlike the previous industrial revolutions, the fourth industrial revolution is unfolding at an exponential rather than linear pace. We need to relentlessly pursue innovation. Only with the courage to innovate and reform can we remove bottlenecks blocking global growth and development. With this in mind, G20 leaders reached an important consensus at the Hangzhou Summit. That is, to take innovation as a key driver and foster a new driving force of growth for both individual countries and the global economy. We should foster a new development philosophy and rise above the debate about whether there should be more fiscal stimulus or more monetary easing. We should follow a multi-pronged approach to address both the symptoms and the underlying problems. We should adopt new policy measures and advance structural reform to create more space for growth and sustain its momentum. We should develop a new growth model and seize the opportunities presented by the new round of industrial revolution and digital economy. We should meet the challenges of climate change and aging population. We should also address the negative impact of IT application and automation on jobs. When cultivating new industries and new forms and models of business, we should always find ways to create new jobs in order to restore confidence and hope to our peoples. Second, we should pursue a well-coordinated and interconnected approach to develop a model of open and win-win cooperation. Today, mankind has become a close-knit community of shared future. Countries have become mutually dependent with extensive converging interests. All countries enjoy the right to development, yet at the same time, they should view their own interests in a broader context and refrain from pursuing their own interests at the expense of others. We should commit ourselves to growing an open global economy, to share the opportunities and interests through opening up and achieve win-win outcomes. We should not develop a habit of retreating to the harbor whenever encountering a storm, for this will never get us to the other shore of the ocean. We must redouble efforts to develop global connectivity, to enable all countries to achieve interconnected growth and share prosperity. We must remain committed to developing free trade and investment, promote trade and investment liberalization and facilitation through opening up, and say no to protectionism. Pursuing protectionism is just like locking oneself in a dark room. While wind and rain may be kept outside, so are light and air. No one will emerge as a winner in a trade war.
Third, we should develop a model of fair and equitable governance in keeping with the trend of the times. As the Chinese saying goes, people with petty shrewdness attend to trivial matters, while people with great vision attend to governance of institutions. There is a growing call from the international community for reforming the global economic governance system, which is a pressing task for us. Only when it adapts to new dynamics in the international economic architecture can the global governance system sustain global growth. Countries, big or small, strong or weak, rich or poor, are all equal members of the international community. As such, they are entitled to participate in decision-making, enjoy rights and fulfill obligations on an equal basis. Emerging markets and developing countries deserve greater representation and voice. The 2010 IMF quota reform has entered into force, and its momentum should be sustained. We should adhere to multilateralism to uphold the authority and efficacy of multilateral institutions. We should honor promises and abide by rules. One should not select or bend rules as he sees fit. The Paris Agreement is a hard-won achievement, which is in keeping with the underlying trend of global development. All signatories should stick to it instead of walking away from it, as this is a responsibility we must assume for future generations. Fourth, we should develop a balanced, equitable, and inclusive development model. As the Chinese saying goes, a just cause should be pursued for common good. Development is ultimately for the people. To achieve more balanced development and ensure that people have equal access to opportunities and share in the benefits of development, it is crucial to have a sound development philosophy and model and make development equitable, effective, and balanced. We should foster a culture that values diligence, frugality, and enterprise, and respects the fruits of hard work of all. Priority should be given to addressing poverty, unemployment, the widening income gap, and the concerns of the disadvantaged, to promote social equity and justice. It is important to protect the environment while pursuing economic and social progress so as to achieve harmony between man and nature and harmony between man and society. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development should be implemented to realize balanced development across the world. A Chinese adage reads, "Victory is ensured when people pool their strength. Success is secured when people put their heads together." As long as we keep to the goal of building a community of shared future for mankind and work hand in hand to fulfill our responsibilities and overcome difficulties, we will be able to create a better world and deliver better lives for our peoples. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, thanks to 38 years of reform and opening up, China has become the world's second-largest economy. A right path leads to a bright future. China has come this far because the Chinese people have, under the leadership of the Communist Party of China, blazed a development path that suits China's actual conditions. This is a path based on China's realities. China has, in the past years, succeeded in embarking on a development path that suits itself by drawing on both the wisdom of its civilization and the practices of other countries in both East and West. In exploring this path, China refuses to stay insensitive to the changing times or to blindly follow in others' footsteps. All roads lead to Rome. No country should view its own development path as the only viable one. Still less should it impose its own development path on others. This is a path that puts people's interests first. China follows a people-oriented development philosophy and is committed to bettering the lives of its people. Development is of the people, by the people, and for the people. China pursues the goal of common prosperity. We have taken major steps to alleviate poverty and lifted over 700 million people out of poverty. And good progress is being made in our efforts to finish building a society of initial prosperity in all respects. This is a path of pursuing reform and innovation. China has tackled difficulties and challenges on its way forward through reform. China has demonstrated its courage to take on difficult issues, navigate treacherous rapids, and remove institutional hurdles standing in the way of development. These efforts have enabled us to unleash productivity and social vitality. Building on progress of 30-odd years of reform, we have introduced more than 1,200 reform measures over the past 4 years, injecting powerful impetus into China's development. This is a path of pursuing common development through opening up. China is committed to a fundamental policy of opening up and pursues a win-win opening up strategy. China's development is both domestic and external oriented. While developing itself, China also shares more of its development outcomes with other countries and peoples. China's outstanding development achievements and the vastly improved living standards of its people are a blessing to both China and the world. Such achievements in development over the past decades owe themselves to the hard work and perseverance of the Chinese people, a quality that has defined the Chinese nation for several thousand years. We Chinese know only too well that there is no such thing as a free lunch in the world, and no pie will fall from the sky. For a big country with over 1.3 billion people, development can be achieved only with the dedication and the tireless efforts of its own people. We cannot expect others to deliver development to China, and no one is in a position to do so. When assessing China's development, one should not only see what benefits the Chinese people have gained, but also how much efforts they have put in. Not just what achievements China has scored, but also what contribution it has made to the world. Then one will reach a more balanced conclusion about China's development.
Between
1950 and 2016, despite its modest level of development and living standard, China provided more than 400 billion yuan of foreign assistance, undertook over 5,000 foreign assistance projects, including nearly 3,000 complete projects. And we have held over 11,000 training workshops in China for over 260,000 personnel from other developing countries. Since it launched reform and opening up, China has attracted over $1.7 trillion of foreign investment and made over $1.2 trillion of direct outbound investment, making huge contribution to global economic growth. Since the outbreak of the international financial crisis, China contributed to over 30% of global growth every year on average. All these figures are among the highest in the world. These figures speak for themselves. China's development is an opportunity for the world. China has not only benefited from economic globalization, but also contributed to it. Rapid growth in China has been a sustained and powerful engine for global economic stability and expansion. The interconnected development of China and a large number of other countries has made the world economy more balanced. China's remarkable achievement in poverty reduction has contributed to more inclusive global growth. And China's continuous progress in reform and opening up has lent much momentum to an open world economy. We Chinese know only too well what it takes to achieve prosperity. So we applaud the achievements by others, and we wish them a better future. We are not jealous of others' success, and we will not complain about others who have benefited so much from the great opportunities presented by China's development. We will open our arms to the people of other countries and welcome them aboard the express train of China's development. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I know you are all closely following China's economic development, and let me give you an update on that. China's economy has entered what we call a new normal, in which major changes are taking place in terms of growth rate, development model, economic structure, and drivers of growth. But the economic fundamentals sustaining sound development remain unchanged. Despite a sluggish global economy, China's economy is expected to grow by 6.7% in 2016, still among the highest in the world. China's economy is far bigger in size than in the past, and it now generates more output than it did with double-digit growth in the past. Household consumption and the service sector have become the main drivers of growth. In the first 3 quarters of 2016, added value of the tertiary industry took up 52.8% of the GDP, and domestic consumption contributed to 71% of economic growth. Household income and employment have steadily risen, while per unit GDP, energy consumption continues to drop. Our efforts to pursue green development are paying off. The Chinese economy faces downward pressure and many difficulties, including acute mismatch between excess capacity and an upgrading demand structure, lack of internal driving force for growth, accumulation of financial risks, and growing challenges in certain regions. We see these as temporary hardships that occur on the way forward, and the measures we have taken to address these problems are producing good results. We are firm in our resolve to forge ahead. China is the world's largest developing country, with over 1.3 billion people, and their living standards are not yet high. But this reality also means China has enormous potential and space for development. guided by the principle and vision of innovative, coordinated, green, open, and shared development. We will adapt to the new normal, stay ahead of the curve, and make coordinated efforts to maintain steady growth, accelerate reform, adjust economic structure, improve people's living standards, and fend off risks. With these efforts, we aim to achieve medium-high rate of growth and upgrade the economy to higher end of the value chain. China will strive to enhance the performance of economic growth. We will pursue supply-side structural reform as the general goal, shift the growth model, and upgrade the economic structure. We will continue to cut overcapacity, reduce inventory, deleverage financing, reduce cost, and strengthen weak links. We will foster new drivers of growth, develop an advanced manufacturing sector, and upgrade the real economy. We will implement the Internet Plus Action Plan to boost effective demand and better meet the individualized and diverse needs of consumers. And we will also do more to protect the ecosystem. China will boost market vitality to add new impetus to growth. We will intensify reform efforts in priority areas and key links and enable the market to play a decisive role in resources allocation. Innovation will continue to feature prominently on our growth agenda. In pursuing the strategy of innovation-driven development, we will bolster the strategic emerging industries, apply new technologies, and foster new business models to upgrade traditional industries. And we will boost new drivers of growth and revitalize traditional ones. China will foster an enabling and orderly environment for investment. We will expand market access for foreign investors, build high-standard pilot free trade zones, strengthen protection of property rights, and level the playing field to make China's market more transparent and better regulated. In the coming 5 years, China is expected to import $8 trillion of goods, attract $600 billion of foreign investment, and make $750 billion of outbound investment. Chinese tourists will make 700 million overseas visits. All this will create a bigger market, more capital, more products, and more business opportunities for other countries. China's development will continue to offer opportunities to business communities in other countries. China will keep its door wide open and not close it. An open door allows both other countries to access the Chinese market and China itself to integrate with the world. And we hope that other countries will also keep their door open to Chinese investors and keep the playing field level for us. China will vigorously foster an external environment of opening up for common development. We will advance the building of the free trade area of the Asia-Pacific and the negotiations of the regional comprehensive economic partnership to form a global network of free trade arrangements. China stands for open, transparent, and win-win regional free trade arrangements and opposes forming groups that are exclusive or fragmented in nature. China has no intention to boost its trade competitiveness by devaluing the RMB. Still less will it launch a currency war. Over 3 years ago, I put forth the Belt and Road Initiative.
3年多来，
Since
已
then,
经有100多个国
over
家和国际
100
组织
countries
积极
and
响应
international
支持
organizations have given warm responses and support to the initiative. More than 40 countries and international organizations have signed cooperation agreements with China. And our circle of friends along the Belt and Road is growing bigger.
到500多亿美元。
Chinese companies have made over $50 billion of investment and launched a number of major projects in these countries along the routes, spurring the economic development of these countries and creating many local jobs.
来自
The
中
Belt
国
and Road Initiative originated in
惠
China,
及世界。
but it has delivered benefits well beyond its borders.
今年5月，
In May this
中
year,
国将在北京
China will host in Beijing
一带一
the
路
Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation,
工商合作大计，
which aims to discuss ways to boost cooperation, build cooperation platforms, and share
为解决
cooperation
当前世
outcomes.
界和区域
The
经济
forum
面临
will
的
also
问
explore
题，
ways to address problems facing global and regional economy, create fresh energy for pursuing interconnected development, and make the Belt and Road Initiative deliver greater benefits to people of countries involved. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends,
世界历史发展告诉我
world
们，
history shows
人类文明
that the
进
road
步历
of
程
human
从来没有
civilization
平坦的大
has
道
never
可走，
been a smooth one,
人类就是在
and
同
that
困难斗
mankind
争中前
has
进
made
的。
progress by surmounting
再
difficulties.
大的困难，
No difficulty,
都不可能阻挡
however
人类前行
daunting,
的步伐。
will stop mankind from advancing.
遇到了困难，
When encountering
不要埋
difficulties,
怨自己，
we should not complain about
不要
ourselves,
指责他人，
blame others,
不要放弃
lose
信心，
confidence,
不要
or
逃
run
避
away
责任，
from responsibilities.
而是要一起来战胜困难，
Instead, we should join hands
历史
and rise to the challenge.
是勇敢者创造的。
History is created by the brave.
让我们拿出信心，
Let us boost
采
confidence,
取行动，
take actions,
携手
and work together
向着未来
for
前进。
a bright future.
谢谢大家。
Thank you.
Mr. President, it was a very, very important speech at a historical moment. The history of mankind presently is characterized by mastering enormous pressures coming from the transformational forces, technological, economic, transformational forces which reshape the world. It would be presumptuous, Mr. President, to summarize your speech, but I would like just to remind us of three very important commitments you made here, which fulfill us with confidence for the future. First, your commitment and your determination to continue the economic development of China, to continue to have China as an important force in the global economy, as a driving force, by preparing very well for the new normal through the necessary structural reforms. But it was also so important to hear from you, Mr. President, your commitment to globalization. We are living in a global interdependent world. We cannot recreate artificial borders, Globalization is a win-win situation. We have a common destiny as a mankind and as a humankind. So, your commitment also to a fair, innovative, open, and inclusive world is crucial. And I would say, I know, Mr. President, there is the Chinese dream. Let's have a global dream, a dream of a world which remains innovative, which remains open, which is fair, and which is inclusive. Mr. President, we are also living in a new world. You mentioned the fourth industrial revolution. We cannot go back to old policies. We cannot just take recipes which may have worked in the old world, but which will not be appropriate anymore in order to face the new challenges. For example, the impact technology has on employment. And here, we need new ideas, and your words were refreshing because you are committed to approach global governance, global cooperation in a new way. We thank you again for joining us here in Davos. President Xi, I can tell you, we here, as a community of global leaders, we are committed to the same objectives: to make this world a better world, to give everybody a better, more fulfilled, healthier, and I would say a life where he feels really included into the society. That's what we are struggling for. That's what we are here for. It all is on us to make it happen. And here we join forces with you. Mr. President, I would like to wish you, the First Lady, Professor Peng, your delegation, and the Chinese people a very happy, healthy, successful New Year. And I hope that you leave Davos with a good memory, because what we need in the world is sunshine, and your speech has brought us some sunshine into our discussions. Thank you.
Today on C-SPAN 2, the confirmation hearing for EPA Administrator nominee Scott Pruitt. Watch live coverage of the Senate Environment Committee at 10 a.m. Eastern Time here on C-SPAN 2 and cspan.org, or listen live with the C-SPAN radio app.
We found that public officials, the people who really govern this country, no, it's not Congress, it's not the president, it's bureaucrats. They write thousands of rules and regulations that have the force of law. And we found out that they don't think much of ordinary Americans.
Sunday night on Q&A, Benjamin Ginsberg, professor of political science and chair of governmental studies at Johns Hopkins University, talks about his book, What Washington Gets Wrong: The Unelected Officials Who Actually Run the Government and Their Misconceptions About the American People.
What do we learn? We learn we elect a Congress, it makes the law, the president executes the law, the courts review the laws, but that ain't exactly how the system works. Much of what we think of as the law consists of rules and regulations written by bureaucratic agencies, by bureaucrats who are not elected by anyone and who often serve for decades.
Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on C-SPAN's Q&A.
At the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the Deputy National Security Advisor and a former State Department official